What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman. We all knew there was some cameo coming of some sort in episode 5 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but there wasn't a single one of us, and I mean a single one of us, who knew who that character was. Okay, maybe a couple of old comic heads at home and Rob from Comics Explained. The rest of us were like, who is this? And we definitely didn't think that it was going to be Elaine. Well, it turns out there was one source last week who did tell us that Julia Dreyfus was the cameo, and now that same source has something to say about the plot of Spider-Man No Way Home, pointing to what the new villain is, and some industry insiders weighed in on this Reddit plot leak and said that it had lined up exactly with what they'd heard as well. We're going to break down this brand new leak in its entirety, read through it, of course issue the normal spoiler warning, and then talk about who is the main villain for the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We're still giving away a PlayStation 5 now at 900,000 subscribers. We just announced the 800K winner last week, as well as Disney Plus subscriptions every Friday while the shows are live. If you want to be entered to win, all you have to do, hit that sub button, then leave a comment down below, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So first up, of course, the normal and customary spoiler warning as it pertains to this kind of material. Remember to take anything that doesn't come directly from Marvel Studios with a grain of salt. However, in the case of anonymous 4chan and Reddit plot leaks like the one that we have today, and coming from a source who was able to nail a quote-unquote secret cameo just last week, sometimes these end up being completely correct. So, if this is in any way going to ruin Spider-Man No Way Home, the future of Marvel Phase 4, only you know if you're susceptible to this kind of thing, which raises the question as to why you clicked on this video in the first place. Either way, I ain't mad at you, but you might want to back out now. Now, the Reddit user who posted both this plot leak and the cameo is named SpiderForever245, and he went on to say that Spider-Man No Way Home's leak, I worked on the film, but they still keep a lot of things hidden from the crew, starts off where Far From Home ended, and there's a time skip. Peter is in court, and there's a lot of things going on, and he's trying to prove his innocence. Doctor Strange realizes that the multiverse is breaking, and there are villains going around from other worlds, so Strange is trying to capture them and put him in a special prison that he made. The villain somehow escaped because Peter did something. He tried to mess with some magic to clear his name. Now it's up to him to get them back in the prison. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are in the second and third act of the movie, will help him capture the villains, and there are even some scenes with just Maguire and Garfield on their own. The movie's final act is on the Statue of Liberty that now looks like a big Captain America with the shield, and the villains are all there. Tom Holland and Maguire and Garfield too, and there's a Stark reactor, which they're all fighting over for something else, but it ends with all the villains getting put in the prison except for Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. Goblin ends up killing someone, I'm not sure who it is, but Tom Holland's Peter was crying and got so mad that he tried to kill Green Goblin and almost did, but then he didn't do it. The movie ends with Peter finishing high school, and I'm not sure what happened to Maguire, Garfield, and Green Goblin, but it looks like everyone will still know Peter is Spider-Man at the end. Now, I have a ton of things I want to weigh in on, and I'm going to do it one by one, but the first place that we should start is the last video that I posted. If you missed it, I'll make sure to link it as one of the videos at the end of this. Alfred Molina, in his most recent interview with Variety for a different film, was asked about returning from No Way Home, and instead of skirting the question, he not only confirmed his involvement, but offered a ton of details about how Marvel plans on bringing his character back. What it said was they're going to use de-aging software along the lines of what they did for Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War, and that the movie would pick up right where it left off with him in the river before he quote-unquote supposedly drowns. And I put that in quotes because, as he said, he did die in that film. However, he was told by Marvel's director Jon Watts, who's working on Spider-Man Far From Home, that no one really ever dies in this universe. So using that as a basis for what we already know about the film, the return of Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is well within reach. We figure that's how they're bringing back Jamie Foxx and Alfred Molina in the first place. So a lot of this leak has already sort of been confirmed by what we already know. And as I say often about these Reddit leaks, you sort of have to watch out for someone who just takes everything that's already come out and then add a little bit of fan fiction, like the idea that the Statue of Liberty would look like a huge Captain America with the shield. We saw that from a leak about 2 weeks ago. I covered that leak photo here on the channel and also posted it to my Instagram. What I think is most interesting about this is the inclusion of Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, one of the only actors who hasn't been confirmed, and of course his inclusion as the main antagonist. And this is what came from other industry insiders and leak sources, that this leak lines up with what they've heard, but more specifically about who the main villain is in Willem Dafoe's Norman Osborn or Green Goblin. Now, I find this interesting because the MCU has yet to introduce their own Norman Osborn or Green Goblin. And if we were to lead to a story like Dark Reign or any of the future possible MCU Phase 4 storylines we thought we'd get, maybe even with the Avengers Tower becoming the Oscorp Tower, then you would need a Norman Osborn for that, and I'm surprised that they would bring in an old Norman Osborn while Willem Dafoe from all the way back in the original Spider-Man trilogy as this character, unless, well, two things, and I think that's what we can clearly read the tea leaves here and see. The first of which is if Norman Osborn or the Sinister Six have a future, that's going to be over in Sony's movies, lining up with Morbius in the Venomverse, and because there's not going to be a future really from Norman Osborn and the Sinister Six in the MCU, what we thought would become the Oscorp Tower will really become the Baxter Building, i.e. all of those Fantastic Four Easter eggs at the end of Far From Home, and John Watts, a director from the original Spider-Man trilogy, is going to go on to direct that. However, when we saw the Sam Raimi costume on the wall in the background during the Morbius trailer, we were all confused as to why they used this Spider-Man costume. Well, by the time this film comes out, the live-action Spider-Verse will have been resurrected by Sony. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man will have featured in the last film, and as we rumored last week, Sony may even decide to do a Spider-Man 4 on the back end of that original trilogy with Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire. Again, that's just a rumor. However, this opens them up to a lot of things, including finally having access to Spider-Man for their Sony Spider-Verse that hasn't had one up until now, and as I mentioned, they can only get through a couple of Venoms, a Morbius, and a couple of other villain films before they either need to bring in Peter Parker or stop making the films altogether. Speaking of which, and not to toot our own horn, but we told you guys over a year and a half ago here at this channel that Sony's eventual plan was a live-action Into the Spider-Verse, so in case they didn't have access to Tom Holland for the stories they needed, they'd have access to two others in Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Here we are all the way now in 2021, approaching 2 years since we broke that story, and it's almost come to full fruition. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below as far as these rumors and conjecture about the film. What do you think about the return of Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, and what do you think the main goal will be if they really are trying to get after an arc reactor? Makes me think maybe they want access to the same multiverse or time travel tech that Stark was able to come up with in Avengers Endgame, but who knows? Let me know all your thoughts down below and your craziest theories about No Way Home, and quickly let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. We're still giving away now a PlayStation 5 at the next 900,000 subscriber mark, which we should hit in about 2 or 3 months, as well as Disney Plus subscriptions every Friday while the shows are live. If you want to be entered to win, all the same rules will always apply for future prizes as well. All you have to do, hit that sub button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below. Because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be selected and then announced at the end of videos, the same way we're doing here in this segment. The best way to keep up with the content is to hit the notification bell with notifications turned on, and as always, if you enjoyed today's video, the other videos I do here at the channel, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. You guys can follow me over on Instagram and Twitter under IamFires. You can also follow me on Spotify, YouTube, any platform you find original music under the name All Fires. Thanks so much for checking out the channel, guys, and stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.